What would you say if I told you that you could book as many inbound sales calls as you wanted for your B2B business? And there was a way of doing that without any outbound messaging, without any cold emails or cold DMs or scraping or automation or anything like that, because that's basically what I want to break down in this video. This is the exact system that we use in our business. If you are an established B2B business and you're still sat there sort of relying on referrals, you might even have competitors who are winning business that you feel like you should be winning, and you're kind of at a loose end, you're a bit lost, and you're just looking for a system that can predictably bring you the right customers to your doorstep. And the big mindset shift here that we need to make is to stop thinking about your growth as a bunch of isolated marketing tactics, or let's do Google ads, or let's do LinkedIn outreach, or let's create content for LinkedIn, and start thinking of it as an end-to-end system, a system that's going to take customers from hearing about you all the way through to buying from you. And that is going to be a huge unlock in your business. A lot of the companies that I speak to have certain parts of the machine sorted, but they just don't have the whole machine, which is why they're not achieving the result. And I mean, let's use an analogy of, for example, if you're in manufacturing and you've got an assembly line that's building cars, if a couple of the stations are not working, you're probably not going to end with the car at the end of the day. So you need all of the different stations to work in order to get the end product. And I think your growth infrastructure or your growth system is very similar. So that would be my big unlock here, is start to focus on a system or a machine rather than marketing tactics in isolation. So what I want to do is I just want to break down exactly how our system works in practice. This is the system that we've used in our own business now for nearly 3 years, coming up to 3 years. It's what we implement within our partners' businesses, and we help them apply the same system to their business. And it's really consistently performed for us for many years now. And it's been very, very predictable, and it's kind of removed the guesswork from our growth system. So it's a 4-step system. I'm going to walk you through it now. It starts with something that we talk about as message market resonance or market resonance. So this is probably the most important part of growth in my experience. What are we saying and who are we saying it to, and what is our unique perspective on the marketplace? That is always the starting point. If we can get that right, then actually a lot of the other parts of the system become very, very obvious. So we need to start with a really clear message, who we're serving, the transformation we're providing them, and then the unique perspective that we can share with those people. And then you're going to take that message and you're going to share it with the marketplace. Yes, you will probably make some changes to your website in line with that product market fit hypothesis or that message that you've created. But more importantly is to go out and get people where they are. So reach people where they are. For most B2B companies, that's going to be platforms like LinkedIn. Often there's going to be some Google search activity involved in as well. And then platforms like YouTube and even Instagram and TikTok can be really powerful as well, depending on your target market. So how this works in our business is I create long form content. I usually do it once a week or every couple of weeks. I create a long form piece of content, a little bit like this one that you're watching now. And this is based on our product market fit hypothesis. So it's based on our core market message. It's designed for people that we know we can help. And it shows them the transformation that we can potentially provide them. And it shows them our unique insight and our unique perspective that we can share with them. And I create long form content a couple of times a month. That gets repurposed in multiple places. So we share the long form content in a couple of different places. We then also repurpose the long form content for posts on LinkedIn on pretty much a daily basis. And it goes out to an email newsletter as well. So our primary platforms at the moment are LinkedIn. That's where pretty much all of our new business comes from. We're also on YouTube, and we also have an email newsletter. And that whole content system is fed by 1 or 2 long form videos per month, which is a few hours of my time. So we've got our clear market message. We've got our system for creating content and pushing that message out into the market. We now need a simple funnel to just capture the attention that we're building up. So at the moment, the way that works is we have content on those platforms. We then have a very simple website and a very simple kind of funnel or landing page, which just articulates that positioning again, articulates our point of view. We have something called a video sales letter, which kind of breaks down our whole marketing system and our whole framework so that people can watch that if you're interested in learning more. We have case studies showing companies that we've helped before. Really, really important for your business to do that as well. And then people just book in a call with us. And then basically the fourth step of the system is having those conversations with people. And we've built a lot of trust with these individuals. We've usually shared a lot of valuable content. And so it never feels like we're having to sell them anything. Often they come to us pretty bought into our approach and how we see the world. And so if they're a good fit, we can usually tell them a little bit more about how our system would work in practice, provide them a bunch of value, and then ultimately sign them up if they're a good fit to work with us. So super simple system. Those 4 steps are clarifying your message. Secondly, a system to produce content consistently and take that message out into the marketplace. Step 3 is a simple kind of call booking lead capture system, which involves a simple funnel with marketing assets, no fancy lead magnets or white paper PDFs. And then finally, it's a simple trust-built sales call to turn those leads and turn those calls into revenue for our business. And just to reconfirm, we're not doing any of this stuff. We're not doing any outbound. We're not doing any sort of lead scraping or automation. We don't have any fancy tools. It doesn't take hours and hours and hours to produce this content. And I never feel like I'm creating content just for the algorithm. So I'm always creating the content around the topics that I want to talk about as a subject matter expert and that I know will help our marketplace. And so I never feel like I'm selling my soul to the algorithm, if that makes sense. So what I'd like to do is actually just break down some of the actual numbers behind our growth engine and kind of pull back the curtain and give you the data behind our business. And I think it will be quite insightful and quite interesting for you. So these are some numbers from our business. So at the moment, within our marketing system, it's costing us about £320 to book a meeting with a prospective client, someone coming to us and wanting to speak with us and probably learn more about our service. So £320. Now that sounds like quite a lot. I think most of you will think, oh, that sounds expensive to book in a call. But it's not when you look at all the other metrics that I'm going to lay out for you now. So we close at the moment, over the last few months, our average close rate has been in and around 33%. So meaning 1 in 3 of those calls is turning into a paying customer for us, which means our customer acquisition cost is about £1,000. So it costs us about £320 to book a new meeting. We close 1 in 3 of those meetings. And then on average, I'm rounding up a little bit, but on average, that's about £1,000 to acquire a new customer. And then we looked at how much cash are we collecting from these customers in the first 60 days of an engagement with us on average. So if we look at the last few months, and this is obviously a lot of different customers, some of them pay us a lot more than this, some of them pay us a little bit less than this, but the average cash in the first 60 days over the last few months is about £2,400. So what that means in practice is we're spending £1,000 roughly to acquire a customer, and within the first 60 days, they're paying us £2,400 on average. And that's not even to mention what happens after the 60-day mark, because a lot of partners will stay with us for many, many months. And so the full LTV of the customer is much, much higher than that. We just wanted to look at what our returns were over the first 60 days of an engagement. And so as you can see, we're more than doubling our money in 60 days. It's quite literally a money machine at this point. And it means it's no longer a gamble. We don't have to worry about where the next deal or lead is coming from. And actually our problems become different. So we start to think about, okay, how can we free up more capacity to take more sales calls? How can we make sure that our operations are in a really good spot so that we can take on more customers? But basically, marketing is no longer the constraint in our business. It's no longer a gamble. It just comes down to maths, basically. And that would be my final takeaway for you here, is that this is absolutely possible in your business as well. And I've seen it be effective across lots of different industries, lots of different types of businesses selling different things to different people. And the key is, if you can get those 4 things right, if you can find that resonance, if you can find the message that really resonates, if you can have a system for taking that message and pushing it out into the marketplace, and if you can have simple assets and simple systems which take that attention and turn it into customers, and then a good process of taking the leads and taking the call bookings and turning them into new business, then you can have a very, very simple system, much like our business. So if you want to learn more about that, if you want to have a conversation directly with me, to speak about how we could potentially do that in your business, then please book a call with me. You'll also find loads of useful information and resources on our website. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.